Now, the big question is, what the heck is going on in this Louisiana governor's race? Let me just read the numbers, if I might. The survey this is from Channel 4, and it was from the Claris Group and Ron Fauché. I'm actually going to be talking to Ron, doing hang out or something with him tomorrow. But the survey statewide results: Jon Bel Edwards, 24%; David Vitter, 24%; Scott Angel, 15%; Jay Darden, 14%. So, and then there's undecided 18%, which is pretty significant, I think. And then there on a heads up, 1-to-1, David Vitter was losing to all three. And so, starting with Lawrence, if you don't mind, right now we're less than 1 month away. So what does this tell you?
Well, it tells me that the governor's race could still be a potential contest. All along, everybody was saying, well, it's going to be David Vitter and Jon Bel Edwards in the runoff, and that's just the way it's going to be. And David Vitter was going to win the runoff since he's a Republican. What this poll is indicating is that, it is a competitive contest, and that most importantly, that in the questions regarding Senator Vitter against each of the other three candidates, he loses. Now, that's a theoretical world, and we certainly don't know what happens in reality until it happens. But that said, this can still be a competitive race, and it would not take much for either Scott Angel or Jay Darden to make a move and replace Senator Vitter in a runoff spot. But at this point, it's still David Vitter's race to lose, and we have to see what develops. I do think one thing that could be hurting him is the constant barrage of negative that his campaign and his PAC are doing against the other two Republican candidates, trying to paint Scott Angel or Jay Darden as either liberals or Obama-like, could be wearing thin with voters, and it could backfire very easily on the Vitter campaign. So it's something we ought to watch over the next few weeks.
Yeah, that's a interesting observation, Jim.
Well, I agree with Lawrence in terms of his analysis. There's one factor, and I'm not surprised. These numbers haven't changed all that much. I think this poll has more credibility because it's paid for by media and it's not a candidate's poll. But it basically shows that Edwards, now let me tell you what, I've seen several polls of candidates. I saw a poll for some lady running for insurance commissioner. She announced on Monday, they took a poll, she didn't, someone else took a poll on Wednesday, and she's got 34%. Because the D's after her name, you see. No one knows who she is, got the D after her name. So Edwards is holding a strong position with the D after his name. Plus, he's a very aggressive, really good candidate, I think. So he's there. Vitter has held his own as incumbent U.S. Senator and spending lots of money. And the others are down about 10 points and got a big leap to go. I agree with Lawrence. I think it's going to be Edwards and Vitter unless something very dramatically happens in the runoff. Now, the thing that a lot of people are just salivating about who are not Vitter fans are the numbers that show he loses in a runoff to the other four candidates. That's fine until if everything stood on par, if they were on equal basis, but they're not. David Vitter has probably more money saved back than all the other candidates put together. Will be able to raise lots more money in the runoff. And I think that money is going to be the deciding factor. There's been so much complaint about the negativism, negative campaigns. Why are we doing? You know why? Because they work. And you're talking to a guy who's spent almost $10 million in my political career running campaigns, 8 statewide races. And unfortunately, I never liked it. I hate negative campaigns. But my pollsters came and said, Brown, if you're going to win, you got to go for the juggler. And I did, and I won the elections where I went negative. The only race I lost, Stephen Lawrence, I ran for governor, and I played the good guy. Oh, I'm going to change the state. I'm the good guy, and I got shellacked. So negative campaigns work. And the point I'm making is when Vitter's going to be able to outspend his opponent in 3 or 4 to 1, and it's going to be just slash and burn, I think that's going to be a big, big factor. So if I had to pick one person whose shoes to step in right now, unless something unforeseen happens, it would be Senator Vitter.
Okay. Now, obviously, and I wrote about this today on Bayoubuzz, the only independent poll, as far as I'm concerned, that's come out this year in terms of the Louisiana governor's race, other than, say, the one that was about LSU, but it really didn't go into detail in terms of who's winning, who's losing and all. It just basically said that it was too early to tell. People weren't focused yet. Anyway, was Bernie Pincinet's poll, S'more's poll, and where, basically Vitter was doing a lot better. Now, since then, there have been no independent polls. Now, this poll, what Clancy Dubose said in his blog today was what it tells him is that Vitter has lost his soft support. So what I call the hardcore support is still with him, which is roughly 24%. But the soft support has gone elsewhere and distributed, I think, all 3 other major candidates.